The following is a very true experience. I've never actually wrote this down before, and I don't know if anyone has experienced this too. This happened between 1989 and 1990, and I was about the age of 4 years old. To this day, I still get chills thinking about it, and I wonder if in some way unknown, it changed me. My parents had a house in the Inland Empire of Southern California, and at the time, my brother hadn't even been born yet, so I was still the only child. To give you a layout, my parents' house was a two-story house located in a cul-de-sac. On the bottom floor there was 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, the living room, and the kitchen. The second floor was just a master bedroom and bath. All you could see from the street was the garage and one of the bedroom windows on the bottom floor, and the window of my mom's bathroom on the second floor. To get to the front door, you had to walk along the cement pathway that ran along the side of the house. You had to pass the first bedroom that you could see from the street. Then you passed the bathroom window, and then another bedroom window, and then you would be at the front door. The backyard was beyond that point. My bedroom at the time was the bedroom next to the front door. Now for some reason, my blinds were completely down to the bottom of the window. There was about a 6-inch gap with nothing covering it. I was pretty young, so I really didn't care much about it then. The bed was in the middle of the wall across from my bedroom door, and to the left was the window. According to my mom, this all happened right before midnight. My mother was asleep in her room upstairs, and my dad was a policeman that worked nights in another city. I was fast asleep in my room, and out of nowhere I suddenly woke up, looking at the bedroom ceiling. I don't know what woke me or if I just popped awake on my own. After my eyes adjusted to the nightlights of my bedroom, I sat up and started looking around my room. All of a sudden something caught my eye in the gap of the window. First, I thought it was a streetlight reflecting on the window, but I knew for a fact that there was only one streetlight, and what I was looking at was 2 obvious glowing spots that were spaced apart as if it was on someone's face. So then I thought, is that a cat looking at me? And yes, I vividly remember thinking these things, trying to debunk this at 4 years old. I had remembered then that my cat Chelsea's eyes would reflect at night, but this looked different than that. The cat's eyes would almost have different colors when reflecting. These were 2 very solid bright white glowing eyes, looking straight at me. I just stared at them frozen stiff, trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. I couldn't see a face at all, the eyes were just too bright and nothing else stood out. That void or face around the eyes looked blacker than the night. I thought again, well, if this is a cat, how could a cat be big like a person, and why would a cat stand up to stare in my bedroom? The curiosity got me and I went for it. I flipped my covers off and turned my little 4-year-old body towards the window and put my feet on the floor. This is the moment the creepiest thing happened, and it will forever be burned into my brain. I got off the bed and got on my knees to get a closer look at this so-called cat, when at this very moment this faceless pair of glowing white eyes begins to slowly and steadily tilt to the side, very similar to Michael Myers in Halloween. Eyes still locked on me, not blinking once. The feeling of dread and fear shot through my body. Completely terrified, I burst into tears immediately and booked it down the hallway, through the living room, and up to the stairs to tell my mom. Although I was going as fast as I could, it felt like it took forever. When I got to my mom, I was so upset. I couldn't get any words out. The tears were streaming down my face, and my mom was becoming seriously concerned at this point. She was able to calm me down just enough for me to get out the words. There's white eyes looking at me through my window on the bottom. Crying hard. Are you sure? My mom asked. I cry out, yeah. She didn't even go down to look, she just called the police. I don't remember how long it took for them to arrive or what they said, because I finally fell asleep in my mom's bed. I do remember faintly waking back up to a knock at the door and my mom going to open it. The cop speaks to her and I hear her say, okay, thank you, good night, and she shuts the door. Did they find it, Mom? I asked half asleep. No, honey. He said they couldn't find anyone. My mom told me softly. It's okay now, just try to go back to sleep. It's safe to say that the next day my whole window was covered. Fast forward a few years and I'm in middle school now. Every now and then I would think about that night. Sometimes I even wondered if that moment was even real, if those eyes were really there. Those unforgettable white eyes. One day a random thought came up and I asked my mom if she remembered that night. She tells me, yeah, of course, why? I don't know, I'm just wondering, I guess, I said. Then my mom proceeds to say, well, I never told you this, but when the deputy came out that night, He told me he made it a priority to get to our house as soon as they could, because it was not very long before I called 911 that they received another call from someone else reporting that someone was looking in their window in our same neighborhood. Hearing that sent chills down my spine, and to this day, I wonder who, or what, was looking at me that night. I remember it so vividly. I was 12 years old and I had just recently moved into a new house in rural Missouri. It was a winter school night, well, school morning. I woke up randomly at exactly 5:23 a.m., a couple of hours before my alarm clock would go off, which wasn't a normal thing for me as I was a heavy sleeper. For a little context, I only had a twin bed and a little nightstand next to it with my alarm clock on top, and an empty bookshelf across the room. Like I said, we just moved in, so my room was pretty empty at the time. I stared at my alarm clock for a moment, still half asleep before I felt a weird chill up my spine, and I felt that someone was watching me. I then turned my head over to the end of my bed to see a silhouette of my little brother, who was about 7 years old at the time, standing at the edge of it in the darkness. My first instinct was to get angry at him. "Xander, what are you doing in my room? Get out!" Complete silence. "Xander," I said again as I sat up in bed, but the only response I got from him was taking a few steps closer to me. I leaned in closer and he did as well, but very much more than I did. I then see through the moonlight that this isn't my little brother at all. It's a faceless child, inches away from my face. It didn't have hair, clothes, nothing, just white skin. It almost looked like Dear David if you ever heard about that story before, except without the caved in head. The moment I realized this, I screamed as loud as I could, which seemed to startle it. My scream sent it flying backwards to the ground and it knocked my alarm clock down in the process. It began to crawl backwards almost spider-like into the corner of my bookshelf and curled up on the floor, burying its head into its knees. This is the moment when my mom came in and turned on the light and asked me what was wrong. When she turned on the light, it was gone. I was sobbing and shaking and told her what had happened, but she said I was only dreaming. I tried telling her that no, I was very much awake and pointed to my alarm clock, which was face down and halfway across the room. She still insisted it was just a dream, but let me sleep in her room regardless. I didn't even enter my room for 2 weeks until my mom had forced me to. I never saw it again, but that didn't mean that me and my family were ghost free. We constantly heard things, cups sliding across the counters, bells ringing, child voices, etc. I'm 23 now, and when I look back at that memory, I know it was probably just a child's spirit that was curious. And if that's the case, I truly feel bad for it, but it still traumatized the crap out of me. I just recently talked to my mom about this. She said that actually she believed me at the time and was just as scared as I was, but she didn't want to scare me even more by validating the experience. To this very day, I try not to look for him in the dark at night.